Hey guys, what's going on? It's Kazzy here, and excuse me for the noise. Sorting my desk out. Terrible intro as always. I suppose I was met like my clique. I keep getting my eyes and nails mixed up. Anyway, as I probably mentioned in another video, I can't remember if I've even uploaded it or if I'd put it somewhere else. But I've got a new steering wheel. I got on Wednesday. Logitech G27, not a T27, and today I'm going to be using it in order to do a demonstration of a particular car and track choice on this game, Nitro Stunt Racing. So why am I doing this is basically not only to demonstrate just how much easier this game is to play with a steering wheel, which considering the fact that it's kind of quite simulation-y in its handling is a given, but so I just want to give a run through of some of the tracks through some different videos and to give an overview of the tracks and the cars that are in the game for people that might be interested in playing the game or just wondering what it's about basically. I might have touched on it in other videos, but essentially what it is these cars here. It's essentially a combination of fighter jet, open wheel racer and off-road buggies. As you can see, which is obviously known before, that essentially just think of a Formula 1 / buggy car hybrid, a little bit like Trackmania I suppose, but think of a car like that with two rocket powered jet engines strapped to the back of the things, which essentially help them to go get some crazy ass air on jumps. Excuse me, I kind of don't want the song to play through, I'd rather listen to the intro of The Tempest, but I digress. So this is the most recent beta, as you can see at the top. I'm not going to go out, but there is a multiplayer version, a multiplayer demo of the game. Unfortunately, no one's playing online right now. I do have some footage of the multiplayer. It's still a work in progress, hence why I say it's a beta. It does work, but I would say it's a strictly non-contact sport, or multiplayer at least. Anyway, as I was saying, and as I'm going to do a run through of the game, a demo of the game. I'll start myself 5th. Unofficial rules, well, I don't have to do qualifying because I'm not going to bother with qualifying. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a run through of the first track in the game, which is called Loopings. Now essentially what this is the category, as it says on the side of the screen, is aerobatic. What that essentially equates to is a primarily high speed orientated track, which I suppose is more realistic than some of the other tracks. And in that regard, you don't really need to worry about air control as such, even though there are loops and stuff, but the car ordinarily doesn't end up launching off of them when you go through. It's all about controlling the car, keeping your speed up, passing opponents, and the tracks are quite narrow. You don't have a lot of room for error. These tracks are maybe 3 cars wide at max. So that said, I'm going to give a run through of the first track, Loopings. I know I've got a arcade video up of it, but that's from an earlier build. That's from the last released build, I believe, which is 2.5.5. This is excuse me, this is beta 2.8.2, so there is quite a bit of a difference between them, and there are some new things, such as I've probably already touched on before, customizable skins. That's my own skin, which is just a repainted bow skin with different stickers and stuff on, and some things such as better driver aids, better traction control, a new addition, I can't remember what it's called, electronic speed something. It essentially manages the car's how best to describe this? Essentially, it's like it helps to drive the car for you. It won't turn the car as such, but it will quite efficiently manage the throttle input into all 4 wheels. Although on the highest setting, that does have the disadvantage of if you're wrenching the steering quite aggressively, it will slow you down quite a bit. It's mainly for beginner users, people that aren't quite sure of the game. It helps them to acclimatise. I would recommend all the other ones leaving them on high, but that's just me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate the first car with the first track with the first car, which is the Primal. I can probably give some better stats about both the track and the car in the description on the video, but essentially what I'll boil it down to is the Primal is the first car that you drive in the game. It's also the car you drive in the demo. It's, as you can tell, it's got the fastest. It's the fastest in a straight line, and it's also got the most. It says road holding, but I would rather equate that to downforce. The downforce is more efficient, but as you can tell, that does have the drawback. Is it does take a bit of time to get up to speed, and its aerial control isn't as good. So that's going to take forever to load up because I'm recording and it's only going at 20 frames a second during the loading screen. Excuse me. Gotta love some Coke Zero. Ooh, that was a Coke Zero burp. And another one. Right, I'll give an overview of the track. As you can see, it's essentially a just think any bog standard Formula 1 style racing track with some loops thrown in for good measure. It's a fairly straightforward track, and with the Primal it's quite easy to get around, although necessarily I wouldn't say you're going to be setting massive benchmark times. The Air XS does tend to be the faster car on the tracks owing to its higher acceleration and ability to carry its speed through corners owing to its oversteer, but in itself that oversteer does make it a complete pain to drive. And in fairness, I would recommend driving the Air XS only with a steering wheel, which is what I've got. There are some people out there that I know who could potentially drive it with a control pad. I know one of the players in the game called Skyrider who can somehow drive that car with a PS3 controller with the D-pad. God knows how, because I can't do it. But I've enough wobbling around, so I'm going to put the music on and I'll have a little bit of a demo. That's actually quite loud. Oh, we cut up on. Ah! Restarting that's bull. The AI jerks. Actually. Whilst I'm here, I'll put that on medium. That gives you a better start, but it does mess with the ability to keep control through corners. So here we go. Run through! Okay, so I am playing this with a steering wheel. I do recommend playing this game with a steering wheel, in fairness. It's a much more enjoyable game with a steering wheel. You can play it with the controller, you can play it with the keyboard. Up until very recently I was playing this game with a USB style PlayStation 2 controller. So let me turn it down a little bit. Sorry. The in-game volume is a lot. Oh, come on! Come on! Seriously, AI? Seriously? Oh, well, not try to overtake each other, but they're quite happy to rear end me around the corner. God damn it. Well, gives me something to do, doesn't it? The handling goes very loose in those rumble strips. So I was struggling. I'll get past this guy. Oh, it's binned it. I'm not as such used to driving this car because compared to the Air XS it doesn't have turning. Owing to the fact that the Air XS has got a lot of oversteer, whereas this is classed as a neutral handling car. Saw my skid marks from where I crashed last lap. Now you know how it feels, mate. Oh, Bing's gone. I'm not gonna win now. Yeah, it's the problem. The cars that have the oversteer tend to be able to carry their speed through corners. So this thing is washing out fairly nastily through the corners, which isn't healthy. I'm normally quite okay with that, but with the steering wheel we've got such fine control of the car, it really is better to have something that oversteers quite a bit. Although I would recommend the Evolution, which is the car directly ahead of me, for people first going out with the steering wheel, because its oversteer is moderate. Not as bad as the RXS, but it still gives you a good idea as to what it handles like. Oh crap, crap, crap. The RXS steering is more sensitive than this one as well. I keep going pretty wide. Maybe because I put ASR on medium, might be affecting my ability to get in the corners. Come on, seriously? Because I put understeer there. As you can see at the bottom of the screen, I've obviously not explained it before, but yeah, the cockpit cam, playing this game on steering wheel whilst using the playing this game on steering wheel and using cockpit cam. It's quite useful because it is does look very realistic. The graphics, as you can tell, aren't the best. The tech is pretty old. I'm not going to complain per se, because you know it's essentially a game from like 2007, 2008. So they're only using shader model 2, but for what they've got, it's pretty damn good. Motion blur, which is a recent addition, doesn't really affect the frame rate. The main thing I've noticed that affects the frame rate. Oh, Siggy! Oh no. Dickwad. There's that Indian guy in Formula 1. Siggy's like him. He's horrendous. Ugh. I've got a bit of swapper on there. Oh god, that guy's oh, is that thing? But for now I've completely forgotten what it was I was going to say. Oh yeah, graphics. You can tell the graphics aren't bad by any means. I'm not going to say the graphics aren't bad. They can be improved, but of course, in any video game, graphics should always come after the core gameplay, and the core gameplay, in my opinion, is pretty good. The tracks are fun, and I enjoy playing the game, both as a sort of semi-simulator. He's going to come across on me, isn't it? I enjoy playing it both as a semi-simulator and just for a casual game. Turning the traction control and all that on complete full whack does make the cars fairly easy to drive, which means that even anybody can drive the RXS with a keypad. Although I wouldn't recommend it. I would recommend steering wheel because you're not going to get that set very fast times. Oh, out dragging. Yeah, I am very good around that last corner on this track for some reason. Because of that crash, I only came second. I'm quite irritated. Just because I'm going to talk a little bit more about the track and stuff, I'll put the replay on. Excuse me, that pizza got stuck in my throat. I had to get it down. But, yeah, the graphics could be improved, but obviously I don't see it as a priority. The game is fun to play, and for what I was getting on before that being cockpit cam, was that the game is actually pretty realistic. As you can see, there is a full working dashboard. It's quite unrealistic. It's quite clunky in order to effectively, that was when I turned the volume down on my keypad, and shortly I'm going to get whacked around and spun. There we go. As you can see, there is a full working functional dashboard and these things that tells you pretty much everything you know. It tells you how fast you're going, it gives you the temperature. That gauge there tells you the temperature of the engine when I get over a loop. Come on, because on its very far right, damage meter. Now you can damage your car with pretty much everything. It is quite realistic. And if you clout something hard enough, it will 9 times out of 10 wreck your car pretty much instantly. The previous versions did have it where if you sort of, if you say fell out the track or rolled the car over, it will count you out as being out of bounds on the track or flipped over. But they've, due to the difficulty it imposed with people on multiplayer not finishing races due to silly mistakes, putting them off the tracks pretty easily, GameSeed, which is the developer for this game, did decide to put in a respawn function, which means if you do roll the car or go off the track, instead of making you retire it, instead it simply puts you back on the track at reduced speed and momentarily ghosted, sort of flashing, you can't be hit for a few seconds. In itself, it gives new players a chance to finish the tracks, especially in multiplayer. It gives everyone a chance to finish. But still, damaging the car, as you can see, I've already done quite a bit of damage to the car. So it's 17%, 18%. That went up because that'll be 18% will be the engine damage. The only way to damage the engine is to overheat it, and the way you overheat it is by using nitro, and you have to use the nitro to go fast. So in tracks such as this one, it is the case of managing your nitro. The main point where you will struggle is on the loops where the car isn't going fast enough. It will start to overheat and will slowly damage the engine. Obviously, the slower you're going with the nitro on full, the quicker the engine is going to get damaged. When you're going, I believe somewhere it's around 260 kilometers an hour. The car will be going fast enough that the air running over the cars will be sufficient enough to cool the engine so it won't start to overheat and start flashing. And obviously the faster you go above that, the quicker it's going to cool down if it is already overheating. And there are multiple ways to wreck the car, as you can tell. The main cause of wrecking the car is one of two things. It's either overheating the engine. If you're kind of new to the game, that's usually what happens, especially on this track. Crash the engine too much. The second one is usually suspension damage, which you take from jumps. Now, on most of the tracks, it is impossible to go through without damaging the suspension quite badly, especially if you want to go fast. There isn't really much you can do about it. It is quite realistic in the sense that over time you do have to learn to manage the car's abilities, and like in Formula 1, essentially you manage your own pace at certain points in the track. Know when to push, know when not to push, see you getting in my way, jerk. Essentially, it's quite a bit like Formula 1, maybe other races, in that you have to essentially manage the car's performance in order to keep it from blowing up on you. Not only can you wreck the car through suspension, you can also wreck it through damaging the wheels, and the only real way you can damage the wheels is by hitting walls. Primarily, you don't want to do that owing to the fact that it will make your car fall to one side. Normally in such as an example like that, but normally at low percents it is quite okay to manage. Maybe a bit difficult without a steering wheel, but in the air excess, for example, you don't want to damage the wheels because the pull does make the car kind of squirrely in a straight line. And the final one is obviously chassis damage, which is the sort of landing upside down, going head first into walls, rear-ending other cars, those sorts of things. The car's chassis and wheels do damage quite quickly, and if there is a car stationary on the track and you hit it full on, most of the time it will wreck you, which I think is reasonably enough, sorry. I don't think it's overpowered. I don't think the cars are too easy to wreck. I think they're not easy enough to wreck in that regard really, but I wouldn't want that to change. And there's Siggy. I hate you. You're so slow. Did the replay end? Yeah, it did. He's a very, very bad driver. It's the guy I was stuck behind us. So that's that. It's been a playthrough of Loopings. I'll put some more details and footage of the well, not footage as such. I don't want to say footage. I'll put more details regarding the track and the car that I used, the Primal, into the description, because I'm probably better off saying stuff in the description rather than saying it, because obviously I keep forgetting to say things. Anyway, in some other videos, I'm going to do some more videos. I'll showcase some other tracks, some other cars, and give everyone an idea of how exactly the game plays. The next one I'll be doing Jump It Up, which is the second track in the series, a jump orientated track. So, if you're interested in the game, interested in seeing what other parts of it like, there is a demo of the game, but the demo itself is quite old. I would recommend watch the other videos to see what the game's like in gameplay. And of course, if you want to, try the demo, and if you like the demo, buy the game. I've probably said it in plenty of other videos. I recommend everyone to buy the game. It's a good game. It really is. I love the bits. I wouldn't have bought it if I didn't think it was a brilliant little game to play. It's got a long way to go for being perfect, so they've got a lot of things planned, such as a lot more tracks and a lot more cars that are going to be implemented at some point, hopefully, but I'll leave that for a later date. So, I'm going to sit here and eat some pizza, and I hope that people watching this are going to go look for some more videos of mine to watch, learn a bit more about the game, and listen to a bit more of me rambling on during the race and get spinning out my AI source. See you then.